Oh, where's my phone? Here we go. All righty. I do believe we are live.
Yes. Yay. Hi, everybody. It's Nina.
Good morning, everyone. Go ahead, Nina.
It's Nina and Dr. Isela. We're back with you live for Trauma, Truths, and Talks this morning. And let's talk. Let's get into it. We have.
Okay, so, oh, I'm sorry, Nina. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so Thursdays are a really funky day for me because I offer, lead a spiritual group. And that we've met for years and years and years at noon my time. And so it's a little crunchy this time on Thursdays for me. So what that means is more than likely, we're going to have to do a part 2 for tomorrow. Okay, same time tomorrow, but I got to be off in time to be able to start my Zoom for my other group. Okay, so I just want to let everybody know that. So this morning when I was doing, so I do this weird sort of like alpha state kind of, I'm in sleep, I'm out of sleep, I'm like, it's like, how much do I want to say on this open channel? So I'm doing like quantum leaping and I'm doing like all kinds of like stuff that you do when you realize you're more than just the body and this experience that we are. And I got a very clear message about talking about finding your purpose.
Okay. So fun.
And how many times have people said to me, I don't know what my purpose is?
I've downloaded many free guides on how to do this in the past. If you Google, I'm sure you'll find a lot.
Wow, really?
I have, yeah. Like in my
Have any of them helped? Have any of them helped you?
I would probably say no. Not really.
Why? What do you think? Why do you think these don't help? Because maybe I'm about to do something that won't help.
Well,
tell me why they don't help.
I think that I shouldn't say no. No is a strong word, right? I think they all help me realize what I've realized about purpose, about my own purpose. But it wasn't like I got this guide and then all of a sudden at the end of doing it, I was like, done, for me, my own journey. It took me some time to realize. And I mean, I want you to talk about purpose first before I share what I came to in my journey. But
okay. So here's the problem with this notion of purpose. We have, as a culture, as a society, as well, I'm going to speak for the United States because that's where we are, where we have deemed purpose as the role we play in terms of occupation.
Yeah.
That's the problem. We see purpose as our occupation. And now my history of my work is that I was of service to people. And so for us, it's pretty easy. Like if you're a nurse, if you're a social worker, if you're a teacher, it's like I'm of service to people. And so that's my purpose, right? So that makes sense. But, if you worked at Walgreens and you're like, okay, I don't know what my purpose is, right? Or I don't know how many people that I have offered readings to or provided readings to who are in retirement age. And they're like, I don't know if I ever really found my purpose. Well, that's because we are believing, and given our experiences and all of the ways that we receive this information, we are believing that purpose is occupation. Mm-hmm. And it is not. It is not. It can be, but it doesn't always have to be. Okay. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that we are looking at purpose outside of playful experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And this is hard for people who don't know how to play.
Yeah.
Who don't know how to tap into their joyfulness.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are working against years and years and years of conditioning of telling us that work equals, or our purpose equals work,
Uh-huh.
and work equals hustle.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna give you a quick little story. I many years ago I had started to train nationally, and before then I hadn't worked at the national level. I've just worked at the state level, right? Well, when you start to train nationally and you're like flying in different parts of the United States, culturally there's such a significant difference between the way people interact with one another on the East Coast, the way people interact with one another in the South, the way people interact with one another in the Midwest, on the East Coast, it was like the way people engaged with one another was so uniquely different. I had a culture shock that I didn't even understand what was happening. Like I was like, okay, uh, was she just rude to me? Like,
Well,
she was just rude. And I realized, well, no, that's just the way they speak to each other on the East Coast. That's not rude. It's just being very direct. And I come from the west part of the United States, where my quick little story is a Starbucks story. Actually, we're going to make this a two-parter, so then I
for
don't
sure.
have to feel like I have to rush. Okay.
Yeah, don't rush. Yeah.
So when so I was training in Washington, D.C. Okay. And at the time when I was in Washington, I had flown to Washington, so I wasn't there permanently. I was there for a week. And I had a crazy hair. Like I had like red and blonde and just all kinds of choppy short hair, all different colors. And so I just from jump didn't look like I belonged. Okay, because everybody walking around in DC, because I meant that Washington, not the other Washington.
Yeah.
DC was all very business professional. The dress is like gray, blue and black suits, basically. Like that's how everyone is dressed. And I'm wearing a bright ass sweater, like a bright ass red sweater. My hair's all crazy. And I go to Starbucks in the morning. And if you don't know the East Coast, it's like there's Starbucks and coffee shops at every corner. And so you go in and they're really made, they're tiny. A lot of them are tiny. They're made for you to go in and go out.
Uh-huh.
So there's an indoor and an outdoor, right? They're not, and they might have some high tops, but really you're just going in and out. So I'm used to the West Coast way of how things are done at Starbucks. This is what it sounds like when you go to Starbucks. Hi, welcome to Starbucks. What can I get started for you? Right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so then I thought we'd have a conversation with them. Like, I'm thinking about it. They'll totally entertain the conversation.
Yeah.
They'll engage with you. It's just part of what they do because that's how we engage with one another. In general, it's the generalized statement.
Mm-hmm.
I go to Washington, D.C., and I'm in that place where I'm like, do I want coffee? Do I want tea? I don't know yet. So I get up and the woman goes, next. And I go, I'm not sure if I want coffee. And she went, next. So in that moment, where you're just like, did that really happen?
Yeah.
You're shocked, right? And then I'm coming from a place of I'm going to assume positive intent. So I'm going to assume that she passed over me to give me time to think, and then
Yes.
she's going to come back to me. So she went 1, 2, and 3 people down, did not come back to me,
Mm-hmm.
just passed me. This was a small space, a lot of people, and I was getting pushed out the outdoor.
What?
So I was like, what is happening right now? This is not my experience. My experience is not this. So I then walked out, but I really it was freezing. It was like November, which is really, really cold for me in Washington, D.C. And
Yeah.
so I walked around the door, I went back, and now I'm scared. Now I'm scared. Now I'm like, okay, I gotta get my order. Get my order right. So I go around and I've got on the top of my head, and I'm thinking, of course, she's going to recognize me because my hair, my sweater, I look like I don't belong. Like she's going to say, oh, did you figure out what you wanted? No, she was like, next. And I was like, da, 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 da. I was so scared of getting passed along again. And it was one of my first real introductions to just how different people engage with one another, how they communicate with one another. And all of the assumptions that we make about those things, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we have all of these years and years and years of social conditioning about the way we communicate, how we show up in the world, because mind you, I was in a bright red shirt, and you could just look at me and go, she's not from here, right? Because you
Yes.
don't know the condition, the social expectations that we've all been conditioned. We're going to our workplace, and our workplace is a professional workplace. And so this is the way we dress. So
Mhm.
we have years and years of social conditioning of what it means to be professional, to be successful, to be all of these things. And so we start to go, okay, my sense of purpose has to be this grandiose idea, this
Yeah.
grandiose position, this grandiose something that changes the world at a huge, not just like where you see it. It's that you can see the ripple impact of what you did, and so people think I'm supposed to do, is
Uh-huh.
something big like that. And when
Mhm.
I don't do something big like that, then I had a meaningless experience of life.
Yeah, it creates a lot of suffering, even along the way, you know, like maybe I'm not doing something I'm supposed to be doing, or I'm always looking for it, the purpose.
Yeah.
Because it can't be where I'm at right now
It
as
can't
far as
be where you're at right now.
right. Yeah.
You're not doing enough right now.
Yeah.
It's not until you have this many people who are following you, or this many people who are doing this many. It's like, it's not until I made this big, huge impact
Yeah.
that I've lived my purpose.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's where we've got it all wrong. It's
Mhm.
completely wrong. And I
Tell us.
wish that we, what was that?
I said, tell us, girl.
Yes. And I wish we would stop asking children. Side note, because I'm always going to talk about children. That's where my professional experience comes from, is that we need to stop asking children, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
We need to stop asking children, what do you want to be?
Mhm.
Because their role, their job, and their experience here on earth is just to realize the truth of who they are, and to tap into what brings them joy, what brings them, where's their passion. And
Yeah.
so my generation, I'm a Gen Xer, my generation and the generations prior, people, well, the generations prior found a job and stuck with the job.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then my generation saw a lot of layoffs happen, and a lot of companies were downsizing because they began to outsource. And so companies that used to really take care of employees for the rest of their lives started to not do that.
Yeah.
And so we saw our parents lose their jobs as a result. And so we really started to look out for, what is it that we want to do in life? What are the experiences we want to have? Not everybody had that, but I did. I looked at my life as like, okay, what are the things I want to do? Not what do I want to be?
Yeah, that's really big because even in so, you know, when you're a child, you're like, you're asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? And then when you're, let's say, single and dating, people's questions is, what do you do? They literally stop a sentence at that. What do you do? And you're like, do for what? Like, what do I do for income? What do I do in my life? Like, it's always like, what do you do? And then we identify with our job,
Yeah.
right?
How many times have people, when you're in a social setting somewhere, and one of the first questions is, what do you do?
Yeah, it's so uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
Well,
What do you
first of
do?
all, you assume I do something, right?
Right.
And I have a friend of mine who asked me, "How do you be today? How are
How do
you
you
being
be
today?"
today? Oh,
Yeah,
that's lovely.
I love that
Yeah,
question.
I
Mhm.
think in our lifetime, if we stop looking at life as like this trajectory of, like, I went into education. I did a lot of things within education. I didn't, and some people stay on that one track, and that's totally great because they find passion and they find purpose in that, and that's fabulous. That wasn't really for me. I really like to learn different things, and I like to really stretch myself. But I also did things outside of that experience. And I think that's what's important, is that in a lifetime, we're going to do a lot of things. And I think some people feel like they're trapped or they're stuck
Yeah.
because they have done the one thing that they've done the last 20, 25 years, and they're not feeling fulfilled anymore. I will tell you that if you are feeling unfulfilled by what you are doing, you are not living your purpose. You are not living your purpose. Okay. So let's kind of explore this idea of purpose. And I'm going to do a little bit today, and then we're going to
Okay.
do a part 2 tomorrow. And we're going to
Okay.
go through this. Now, I'm going to try to use my first time I've ever done this. I'm going to try to use
Yeah.
my little work, my sheet of paper here. Now, there's my hand. It goes to here. It goes to there. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I often will think, even though this is not like in the spiritual realm, there is no time is not linear. Okay. In the realm outside of form, time is actually vertical. And this is really hard for people to grasp sometimes because all things are happening at one time, at the same time. And so this is how we can actually tap into our past experiences, and we can heal at the level of that experience because it is currently happening now. And our future self, the self that we are, it's like we're always running towards this future part of what we're going to have and what we're going to do and all the things we're going to experience is already having that, is already experiencing those things. And so when we learn how to get in the present space, in the present moment, we can actually experience those things and align with that vertical experience of and it's really not vertical. It's kind of like this essence of everything kind of mingling together. And then we have timelines within that. And so
Mhm.
it's very confusing. And the problem that is hard for us is because we're conditioned to compartmentalize our experiences. So I always start with a timeline because that's what's comfortable for our brain. Okay. So when we are little, and this is the way I see our experiences of life. We are born, we come into form, and you chose this shit. So yes, you did choose your parents, and yes, you did choose your not the circumstances of your life, but you chose the people who and don't get pissed off about it. I'm just telling you it like it is.
Right.
The hard reality, people. You did choose it. Okay. So you're an infant, and then this is your early experiences of life. So I'm going to say it's birth to 7, 8 years of age. This is what we actually call our early childhood experiences of life. This is and it really it's between 7 and 8, and this is where our formative experiences occur in terms of our brain and our body developing.
Mhm.
And then we go into middle or elementary and then middle school, which is, for a lot of people, middle school is a nightmare. And then we go into high school, we go into early adulthood, and then we span out into our adult experiences of life, right? Okay. I want you, this is going to be your homework for tonight. Okay. For anybody who is watching this on the replay or you're watching us now, what I want you to do for these experiences. So I'm going to put birth and I'm going to put early childhood, and this is elementary, and I'm going to put middle school in the middle, high school, and then adulthood. And early adulthood is different than adulthood. We all think of ourselves in our 18, 19, 20, 25, a very different experience, right, than as we age and get older. But I really want you to focus on this part of your life. Now, here's the challenge. Some of us don't remember.
Yeah.
Some of us don't remember our experiences. And this is why this healing is so critically important,
Mhm.
because sometimes we don't remember because it was a way that our body protected itself, right?
Mhm.
And so still, I want you to do this. What you're going to do is you're going to, in these early childhood years, what did you love to do? What did you love to do? Okay. So that's the question. What did you love to do? And don't get real theoretical here. You like to make mud pies. I really seriously, I mean like that. Not like, I love don't try to think of this grandiose experience. I love to run around naked in the yard.
Yeah.
I love to play dress up.
Mhm.
I love to sing. I love like What did you love to do? So for each one of this early childhood experience, elementary, or this is birth. So their first, this whole trajectory here is our early experiences. Elementary, middle school, high school, young adult. What did you love to do? And I want you to just list. We're going to do number 1, number 2, number 3. It doesn't even have to be listed. You can just do a huge data dump, is what I call it. You just dump your brain, all the things that you remember loving to do as a child. Well, as a child, and then you moved into middle school and high school. Okay. So that's your homework for tonight. I just want you to write down the things that brought you joy, the things that made you giggle, the things that got you excited, the things that that you remember when you think back and there's a joyful experience attached to it.
I'm already feeling the joy thinking about it.
Yeah. We have a lot of shit. All of us do. We could probably go through here in 5 seconds flat. Go, this horrible traumatic thing happened when I was this age, and I felt lonely and alone, maybe suicidal at this age. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
But really, 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 like that's the stuff we're healing from. That's the stuff that we go, hey, universe, like I experienced this really shitty thing, and now I have the opportunity to be able to move through this and learn from it, right?
Yeah.
But we came in with magic.
Mm-hmm.
We came in with magic. And so we want to just go back to those magical experiences and let's capture that.
I love it.
Okay.
Yes.
And tomorrow, what we're going to do is I'm going to tell you what you do with this, because there's a couple more steps to this. But first, I just want you to think of those times of your life and capture that. Now, we do have a comment. I'm not sure if it's relative to what we're talking about now. Joy James says, it's saddening when you've been with somebody for as long as 5 years, only to discover that he has been cheating all this while and hiding dark secrets about himself. My husband has been acting strange for a long time, and he comes back late and drunk and will hit me several times in front of the kids, even throw my clothes and make me naked and his friends. Every day I was reminded that I'm nothing to him and was not worth fighting for. I wasn't allowed to visit my friends or family. Joy, I'm going to say to you that there are people you can reach out to, resources to reach out to. Okay. Those of us who do this virtual work we are very helpful and we are supportive and we can provide lots of resources. But it sounds like you are in a situation where you really need like support from your community, from resources within your community of where you are. Okay. Because what is happening right now is not okay. I know that you know that at a deeper level, and it doesn't sound like you're safe, and your children might not be safe. So it's important that you reach out to community services, to people in your area. We'll see if we can find some information, some resources that we can drop in after we're done with this live so that you can reach out and get the help that you need.
Yes.
Do you have anything you want to add to that, Nina?
No, well said. Well said. Yeah.
All right, let me take a look. I haven't been looking at my Instagram. Oh, we have a couple people there. Yay. Okay. All righty. So that's your homework.
Okay.
Capture what brought you joy and excitement throughout your early experiences of life. And then we will see you all tomorrow and we will continue this conversation.
All right. See you tomorrow, everyone.